Thank you both for being here. And what is your name and how you present yourself to the world?
Hey, I'm Jay. I use they, them pronouns. I present myself to the world as a Black non-binary person and as an outreach specialist at Mosaic.
Hey, my name is Ashton Colby. I use he, him pronouns, and I present myself as a trans man because that's the easiest thing for people to know me as, but I joke that I'm like a alien that doesn't even have a gender. Sometimes I just like facial hairs. Yeah.
Perfect. When did you start feeling issues with the idea of gender and society's gender norms?
I think I felt like I was different when I was a young kid, but I didn't know I was different. It seemed to make other people around me uncomfortable by me just doing the natural things that I wanted to do, like acting more tough or wanting to wear pants instead of a dress. Like those seemingly really natural things to me made my parents and my parents' friends kind of look at me like, hey, you want to try to not do those things? And so I learned that there was this like internal expectation of how I felt and externally how everybody else felt about me. And that kind of clash grew over time, but I tried to really shove it down when I was like a teenager. And then it was when I was 19 that I just knew I had to just let everything inside me be open.
Could you tell us a little bit about that age? Because you were actually doing a lot of professional modeling work, and I'll let you talk a little bit about that transitioning, because you were making it in the world as a woman.
I mean, I tried really hard to be like, when I was 9, 10, 11, you start to kind of go into middle school, you start to like have initial puberty. And so I was like, okay, it's not cute anymore for me to be a tomboy. I am gonna try to dress cute and wear pink. And as that was into high school, I started wearing makeup. I started wearing hair extensions. I really like went all into it, and to the level of I was like, I'm gonna push my masculinity down so far within me that I'm gonna compete in beauty pageants. And even that external validation of people like literally applauding in an audience that like, oh, you are successful as a woman, wasn't enough to fulfill this like deep sense of emptiness that I had from not expressing who I was. And so, yeah, it went so far as to me competing in Miss Ohio and being like on stage in the top 30, presenting myself like as this like idealized version of a woman. And that was a really like light bulb moment. I felt nervous on stage, not because I was nervous about winning or losing. It was like I am nervous because this is so inauthentic and I know it. And I just remember having that moment and cried after, but cried from a relief of like, that's over. And I knew I had to transition after that. And within like 4 months of doing all that, I had cut my hair and I had started testosterone like 6 months later, and went to college like in my 20s as a guy, like did a kind of a 180, but it was exactly what I needed to do. And I've been out for like over a decade now, and I'm in my 30s, and just a lot more at ease with myself now from everything physically. So
when I was younger, like I can't point to an exact age or anything when I started to feel different, but I always just felt like I wasn't like other girls. not in a like I'm special and better way, but in a like something might be wrong with me kind of way, like because of how people were just like my peers were so like sure of themselves and like boy obsessed and feminine, and like their moms didn't have to yell at them to wear earrings and purses, and mine did. And so like I always felt like I wasn't like doing it right. And then like I didn't really know that it was possible to be anything else other than a girl, until I got to college and met all these like people who were feminists and queer and trans, and they opened up my worldview, and I got to see that like there were other options. And I was like, well, I'm not choosing this if there are other options. So like I started to learn more about like gender identity and like what's possible, and like I heard the term non-binary and I was like, that sounds like me. I feel that very deeply, and I started identifying as that when my friend circles in college, and like going by they them pronouns and trying that out. And I was still closeted to my family, but on campus I was like out. And then where I'm at now in the transition process is like I've been taking testosterone for 3 years since 2019, and I'm like gonna keep taking that for a while. I'm not sure when I'll stop, if ever. And I got top surgery last year, which was really affirming. That was like the biggest step in my transition, and the thing that's been the most like healing for me. Like it alleviated a lot of my dysphoria. Like a lot of my dysphoria came from my chest. Mm-hmm. So like I feel a lot more like myself after having top surgery, and I can move in the world like more easily, and like feel like people aren't just staring at these huge things on my torso. So that's where I'm at now, and I feel a lot more comfortable this way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So you both talked about the people in your life that weren't so supportive or understanding. Who were the people that were influential in supporting you and your mental health during this period of coming out in various ways?
For me, it was like my friends that I met in college at OSU. Like specifically someone named Layla. I call her my queer mom. She was like a big supporter for me, a big help in like pointing me to resources, and like told me to join this organization on campus called Shades. That was for queer students of color. I made a lot of friends through that organization, and it was kind of like the support group that I needed to come out. Like I think the first time I ever talked about being non-binary was at a Shades meeting. So the people in that group were very supportive of me and like helpful in my journey.
Who was influential for you, Ashton, in supporting your mental health when you were deciding to be authentically yourself?
Yeah, my dad was really supportive because I think he kind of guessed that that's what I was dealing with. He really knew that I was having depression and anxiety and I wasn't happy, and he could sense that I wasn't being authentic, and he saw me like how I saw myself the whole time, but just let me come to him when I was ready. And my grandma, his mom, I just talked to her on the phone yesterday, and even my grandpa, as much as he is still learning about all these things and like doesn't fully get it, he's even coaching my grandmother about pronouns and trying to remind her if ever my grandma like says the wrong pronouns, like my grandpa is just like, this is what it is, and we're gonna do this and support. And had a lot of friends that have stuck with me and have been friends since I was in high school, and they're best friends now, and they've always just seen me as I've seen myself, and that's like how you know it's like a real one is that like they don't care what you look like. They just want to know your heart, and it feels so secure to have been able to maintain that support. And yeah, even when people in your family don't support you, like it's even if you just have that one person that gets it, like it is like literally life saving.